Hello, Spooklings.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Kathy.
And we're the hosts of the weekly podcast, All Hallows Eve Podcast.
We are a husband and wife duo with a passion for anything spooky, macabre, and true crime, sprinkled with our own twist of comedy.
We explore topics such as the history of Halloween, the Butcher of Plainfield, Hocus Pocus 2, urban legends, superstitions, and more.
So come join us as we go down the rabbit hole that is All Hallows Eve Podcast.
Listen and follow us at allhallowsevepodcast.com or your favorite podcast provider.
Stay spooky, my friends.
All right, everybody, welcome to Films and Fermentation, episode 94, this year in film history. That's right, we are Films and Fermentation, a movie and alcohol podcast. I'm Leo.
I'm Mike.
We're three friends who like to talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced. In this episode, we do another deep dive into a classic year for cinema. This year was actually voted on by our Twitter followers. We did a competition or a little survey to see what year we should do for this episode. The choices were 99, 2007, 1975, and 1989. And the winner was 1999. So this year, so this episode gets 1999. So we're going to take a look at the year in cinema for 1999 in this episode. Don't forget to drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. Don't forget you can support the show by visiting us at Patreon or buying some merchandise at our Teespring store. Both links are on Linktree. This episode, as always, is brought to you by Newsly.
Newsly is an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. It picks up the most trending articles on the web on topics you choose at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time ever, the entire web becomes listenable, all in one place. Follow any topic from sports, tech, business, science, even Bitcoin. It will find you the latest articles and read them to you aloud. And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 80 countries. Our podcast is there too. Download and use Newsly for free now from www.newsly.me or from the link in the description, and use the promo code ANDFERMENT to receive a 1-month free premium subscription. Stop scrolling, start listening.
Newsly!
Bobby. So what are we drinking tonight, gentlemen?
I'll go first. I never go first. I'll go first. Megan and I, a couple weeks ago, when we were, pre-exposed to the vids, we had gone to a nice little brewery in. That's not far. Where's this at? This is in Haddon Heights, so really right around the corner. Called Tanner Brewing Company. And we tried their flights, and we found two that we really enjoyed. And naturally, once we had gotten our 2 4-packs of what we really enjoyed and came home, the very next week they launched a couple more that we would really like. So we'll have to go back. But I'm going to start off. You guys may have noticed I was a little tired earlier. I'm going to start up with a wake up from Tanner Brewing Company, which is a coffee stout, 5.3% alcohol by volume, and I don't think they have. Oh, they do. They do. Okay, here we go. Nothing beats that early morning cup of coffee except maybe this beer. Wake Up is a stout conditioned on cold brew coffee blended for us by local Link's restaurant. Ooh, cool. You get the best of both worlds with this rich, roasty coffee stout. So it's not only local, it's local, and coffee. So that's where I'm at. Oh shit! I mean, yay!
Mike, what you got going on tonight?
Well, I went with the Devil's Backbones that I bought this week the other day. I'm going to start with Munching on Pumpkin. It is a 5.2% alcohol by volume pumpkin lager, spice, caramel, and pie crust notes to it.
Mm-hmm.
It almost sounded dirty.
Pumpkin's the nickname I have.
Munching on pumpkin.
Just kidding.
Munching on a pumpkin.
So since we're doing 1999 tonight, as I said in the pre-show, I thought about doing a theme drink, and the most popular drink in '99, thanks to Sex and the City, was the Cosmopolitan. I did not do that tonight because I just didn't feel like making a Cosmo. I had another mixed drink I was going to try from that I saw on this show I watched the other day, and then I'm like, I have so much beer and hard cider in my fridge right now between my trip to New York and the 2 6-packs that Mike gave me last week. I was like, I need to start, emptying out the fridge a little bit. So I'm continuing my Bombshell tour tonight. So I have my Bombshell hard cider from Warhorse Brewery in New York. Tonight we have the Rosie the Riveter Bombshell cider, which is called Berry Lemonade. It is a little tart.
A little sour.
It's very good, but it's a little tart, a little sour. This one is 6.8% alcohol by volume. The other one I have is also a Bombshell hard cider. It is their raspberry hard cider. This one's got the pinup on the front. And this one is also 6.8% alcohol by volume. Mike, do you have any history for us this week?
This day in film history. Well, the first fact is yours, Lisa. Why don't you take it away?
Yeah, so this is actually This Week in Film History because actress Raquel Welch passed away Wednesday, February 15th. She was 82 years old. I decided to mention this because she has a connection to my favorite film, Shawshank Redemption, in that she is the last poster that Andy hangs up in his cell before breaking out of prison. She is, as Warden Norton calls her, the Fussy Britches. Poster is from the film 1 Million BC.
Yep.
So go ahead, Mike. What's your other fact?
1931, the original Dracula film starring Bela Lugosi as the titular vampire is released.
And we, of course, have a connection to this as well, as this was part of our Recasted episode with our guest Wayne from Recasted 2.0.
Yes.
When we talked about the Universal movie monsters and recasted them for a modern-day audience. Out there listening to us right now, if you haven't heard that episode, it's a really good one. It was our Halloween episode, so it's about, I would say, 8 or 9 episodes back in our catalog there. Check it out. It's the Recasting the Universal Movie Monsters with our guest Wayne from Recasted 2.0. Mike, you have a beer or craft destination for us this evening?
I have a must-try beer, which is going to be right up Kevin's alley again. This is an Imperial Java Stout.
Sounds good.
That's Santa Fe Brewing Company from Santa Fe, New Mexico. From the best craft breweries in New Mexico comes a beautiful symphony of roasted coffee and barley. At 8% alcohol by volume, it's no small undertaking, but the strength of the beer is nicely balanced with the strength of the coffee. Let this one warm up a bit to around 50 degrees Fahrenheit before pouring to a maximum aroma and flavor. It's black, as expected, with beige foam and a fresh French roast coffee perfume.
Mm-hmm.
The palate isn't heavy, but intensely flavored with sweet caramel, roast grain, and roast coffee. Not subtle, but beautifully blended. Bitterness mainly comes from the roasted grains and beans, and alcohol is evident and dry. In a word,
Now that
robust.
actually sounds like something I might consider having in the morning with my breakfast. That's how good that sounds. And I'm not a beer drinker in the morning. I'm not saying I don't drink in the morning. I'm just saying I'm not a beer drinker in the morning. Usually a screwdriver or a little Irish cream in the coffee that goes over well. A mimosa, whatever. Those things that actually kind of like, okay, tequila sunrise, that would work out too in the morning. Little hair of the dog, but I'm not one that'll be like, oh yeah, let me just crack open a beer first thing in the morning. But the one Mike just described sounds like you could pour that into a glass and so I'd be like, oh, iced coffee. It's like,
Yeah.
I actually, it's funny, when I was on the bachelor party weekend for my brother-in-law Howard, we were up the mountains, and he had a friend that came along with us who was a 24-hour-a-day beer drinker. The man had a beer in his hand all the time, to the point that he bought a couple cases that weekend after he finished the ones he brought with him. And I'll never forget waking up on a Sunday morning. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. I was waking up to the sound of in the background. And I turned around, he's standing behind, he's standing off in the kitchen. I'm laying on the couch, and I looked over, and he's like, "Morning," and he's got the beer under his hand. That's the first time I ever met somebody who was a morning beer drinker.
Yeah,
I can't do that. I can't do that. But like you said, Kev, that sounds good though, just because of the Java connection.
The brown, frothy, foam and the dark. Just sounds good.
It sounded a lot like Guinness when you were describing it, because Guinness has that amber foam on the top.
That might be something I would open up in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
lazy afternoon.
Yeah, because it is 8% alcohol by volume, so you get up, drink it, and go back to bed.
Like yesterday, where it was inexplicably 65 degrees, and I was eating dinner outside, even though it's February.
And Saturday it's going to be 30.
Global,
and then next week we're supposed to get snow.
For, down the road, but right now we're kind of for right now.
Yeah, right. For now, I enjoy the February spring.
120-degree weather we're going to have in the summer is really going to suck, but
well, that's why I stay inside. All right, notes from last show. Our notes from the last show are brought to you by Dubby All Natural Energy Drink. The drink perfect for gamers because it doesn't give you the jitters. To find out more, please go to dubby.gg and use the promo code FilmsFerment to get 10% off your order. Dubby, be better. As always, with our notes from last show, I started off with a little synopsis according to Glip. So last week we talked about our favorite fictional athletes. Our episode was one of the most listened to episodes on Good Pods this week, by the way.
Wow.
According to Glip, though, the participants spoke about positive professional manners. I think we were talking about school in the pre-show. I cut a lot of that out.
that was
windshield wipers, schools, the first phase of God. That's the DCU stuff. The first phase is called Gods and Monsters or something.
Yeah.
Football aspects of the film, Lola Bunny, and final picks for the movie. So not as random as it usually is, but still pretty random. I want to apologize for anybody who listened to episode 93 and were a little bothered by some of the sound issues. For some reason, we were having some timing lag where certain times during the show we were kind of talking over each other. Hopefully it didn't ruin the experience for you. It was still a pretty fun episode anyway. And I have to apologize for my premature Eagle celebration. I did say in the last show, sorry, Chiefs fans, you have no fucking way you're going to win.
Yeah.
And you won.
Except they had more players on the field.
I can make excuses for it. I made plenty this week, but that's not what this show is about. So we're going to move on. We're going to move on, and we're going to give a little shout out to All Hallows Eve. If you haven't listened to their newest episode this week, All Hallows Eve podcast had put out an episode about the corpse bride of Key West. It was a very weird, very fun episode, a little gross. But at the beginning of the episode, a little bit, yeah. At the beginning of the episode, they talked about America's Forgotten Child, which is a story close to those of us who grew up in the Philadelphia area about a boy who was killed when he was 4 years old in the 1950s, never identifying his body until this year using DNA, science. They were finally able to identify him, and they replaced his unmarked gravestone with a new gravestone that has his name on it. And I was excited to hear All Hallows Eve talk about this, as it's a story that I kind of grew up with. And so I work very closely to the cemetery where the child is buried. So I got some pictures of the grave site and sent them to All Hallows Eve. So like I said, they are a good show. They're a good friend of our podcast. Always have nice things to say about us. I can't say anything bad about them. And they've had some really, really good episodes lately, especially the episode about the Red Onion Tavern, Red Onion Saloon, the previous episode. That episode was actually promoted by the Red Onion Saloon in Alaska. They caught wind of the episode and gave them a little shout out at their saloon, which is pretty cool. So congratulations to All Hallows Eve and all the success they've been having with their show lately. Kevin had a hypothetical question for us this week pertaining to the classic 1987 film, The Princess Bride. So,
Sure.
Kev, would you like to take this away here?
Bear with me 1 second because I got to bring it up. I am unprepared, but I do have it. It's right. No, that's the one about Tim Curry, who's a Muppet. Okay. So.
I'm pretty sure you sent this to me on Facebook.
So remaking The Princess Bride, we have two options here. Mm-hmm. Okay. The first option, if we're going to do it, and let's all face facts that we really don't want it done. We think the original is perfect the way that it is. You're never going to find another giant as good as Andre, so we really don't want this remade. But if you're going to, one option is that you have Fred Savage, who was the original little boy. He comes back as the father, and he's got a 10-year-old daughter who's sick. And now he's reading her the book that his grandfather used to read to him when he got sick, Because it's a new audience and a different time, the story is recast and reimagined, and the daughter interrupts in different places than he would have as the grandson back then, and obviously if they did the book story portions that are word for word and were from the original, bonus points. Okay. But it should be shot differently, acted a little differently, that is one option. Or the second option, Muppets.
Mike and I were talking about this a little bit the other night. Like, we agree it's not a movie that should be remade.
No.
And if it does get remade, as much as I love the Muppets, I don't want to see a Muppets Princess Bride. Because it's going to be Piggy as Buttercup, and all that. So I like the idea though of remaking it and having the book be interrupted in different parts. So like the boy was always interrupting the kissing scenes. Maybe the girl can interrupt the action scenes for the and all that. So have it like a little bit different. But I like the idea.
You mean hello, money, and she just interrupts before he gets the whole speech.
Or like Inigo gets stabbed by the six-fingered man, and she's like, "Wait, what? He's going to get killed? He can't get killed." Like something like that. So I was trying to think of like characters to recast, and I feel like for modern day audience, if you're going to recast Inigo Montoya, you should probably
So
actually get a
Pedro
Spanish
Pascal.
actor. So I thought, I was thinking Pedro Pascal again because I just feel like he would do it
He's in
justice. 'Cause-
everything now, you know.
but he would. I think he would do it justice. I think he can do the comedic edge and the dramatic edge and have it way out well.
But I just thought of something to merge both of them for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
You can still use Sweetums as a giant.
Sweetums. That's the one role I was having trouble casting because it's like, there aren't too many giants out there that you can throw into an acting role. Well, I figured you can get any actor you want, and you just use forced perspective to make him look like a giant.
You could get a professional
like they did in Lord of the Rings.
Shaquille O'Neal,
the big show.
Who has dipped his toes into acting on an occasion or two, and he's as professional as Andre the Giant was. Andre the Giant's beloved, but Shaquille he's got the same acting chops, which isn't to say professional; it's amateurish, but still.
He's on all these commercials nowadays.
And Icy Hot
for the general.
For the general, for Papa John. Icy Hot. He's everywhere.
I was thinking for Buttercup, the Princess Bride herself, Florence Pugh. I was thinking for Humperdinck. I don't know. I don't have them all figured out. I just had a few that I was thinking about earlier.
Billy Crystal is Max.
But it's not something we.
No.
No.
Yeah,
he's the one guy I think I would bring back, and Carol Kane's still around. You could bring her back too. Who would you do for Wesley?
Yeah,
I had some trouble with that one. I was thinking Timothy Chalamet, since he and Florence Pugh were in Little Women together already, so they have some screen time together.
Oh, you don't want to do Adam Driver?
Who? Adam Driver? I think Adam Driver, Humperdinck.
He has a sword play already. He was a Jedi.
I have the winning casting though for this though. I have the best casting. What if I think Al Pacino for Vizzini. Yeah, the only one that's a certain when death is on the line.
How about Rowan Atkinson for the priest who marries him?
He can play like the priest from Four Weddings and a Funeral who gets all their names wrong. That would be fun, yeah. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. That was just a hypothetical, but it's kind of a fun hypothetical to think about. So we're going to take a break for some short messages from a couple of our other podcast friends. Today we laughed and learned, and the Fandalorians, and then we'll be back after those brief messages with our main segment, This Year in Film History, 1999.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Hello, everybody. Let me ask you a question. When you were a kid, did you ever wonder what teachers talked about in the teacher's lounge?
You probably didn't miss much. It's usually boring stuff like grading papers, lesson planning, and then figuring out the new train schedule.
Train schedule?
Well, I teach in the city.
But sometimes, at one of the not-so-cool tables in the back of the teacher's lounge, you might find us, the Fandalorians, teachers by day, nerds by night.
My name is Mr. Richardson, and by day, Mr. McDonald, Mr. G, and I teach and inspire America's youth.
But by night, we debate, discuss, and argue about all things in the pop culture universe on our podcast.
We discuss all the biggest pop culture topics in the world, like Ozark, Stranger Things, The Marvelous Miss Maisel, Marvel, Star Wars, Top Gun Maverick, The Old Man, Bridgerton, you name it, we'll probably discuss it.
You guys watch Bridgerton?
Yo, season 1 of Bridgerton was awesome. You don't know what you're missing. Since we are teachers, you will always get a ton of background information about our topics and original teacher-themed segments, like our pop culture morning announcements, building meetings, and post-observation reviews of shows and movies. Oh, and arguing. You'll get lots of disagreements and arguing, like way more than I'm comfortable with.
You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just search for The Fandalorians, teachers by day, nerds by night.
Then join us every Monday as we look into the current state of fandom and pop culture.
Hey, look, the bell's about to ring. We need to head to the buses. Hopefully, we'll see you guys soon.
Well, I mean, they're not going to see us because this is a podcast.
I know.
But they can't even see us when you think about it, so they won't see us either.
Oh my God. You know what I meant. It wasn't literal. Just ring the bell. Ring the bell.
The Fandalorians, teachers by day, nerds by night. I hope you listen and subscribe to us soon.
I hate you guys.
Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Deb.
And we host a pretty fun podcast called Today We Laughed and Learned. You know, this is where we discuss all the things we should have learned, but, well, never did. And we have quite a few laughs along the way.
Today we laughed and learned with Chris and Deb.
We're curious about everything. Experts on nothing.
Come find us wherever you get your podcasts.
All right. We are back from our little short break with our...
Well, that hurt.
Whoa,
That
bless you,
hurt.
sir. Wow.
Sorry about that.
Take two. That looked painful. You almost hit your face on the screen.
my back is...
How many vertebrae popped when you did that? Because my back would have went.
Yeah, you went, how'd you...
Exactly.
Mike, you got a new drink right now?
I have Devil's Backbone Fest lager.
This is another beer that sounds roughly kind of dirty.
Smooth, malty, and bready notes. It is a 5.9% alcohol.
So you had pumpkin munching and no fest, huh?
Lager. It's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He munched some pumpkin and then he's showing us his O-Fest. Oh.
It's all, and both are from Devil's Backbone.
So we're back with our main segment here, which is this year in film history, 1999. For reference to this episode, we are using Box Office Mojo by IMDb, and we're looking at the domestic box office for 1999. And this time around, instead of how we usually do things, we're looking at in-year releases. So all of the movies that we're going to be talking about were released within the 1999 window. So we're not going to have any films in here that are carryovers from 1998 or carrying over into the year 2000. These are all films that were within the 1999 calendar year. And like I said, we're talking about domestic box office gross, but I will be talking about the worldwide gross as well for some of these. We're going to look at the first 20 films in detail, and then from there, we're going to just kind of pick and choose some of our favorites as we go down the list, because there are, of course, a lot of movies.
There are.
The number one film in 1999, I don't know, do you guys have the screen open in front of you? Because I was going to see if you wanted to guess, but... All right.
No.
So if you were to guess, would you have thought of this film?
I would have.
I honestly didn't remember this came out in 99. I thought it came out in 2000. Like my guess for this year would have been one of the other top 5 films. So when I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, it did come out in 99, didn't it?
It came out in 99 because I was still down in North Carolina, but still in the Army. And
I remember the trailer for this might have been released during the Super Bowl. And everybody was like, or all the fanboys were like, definitely having heart palpitations because of how great it looked. And I think it might have just been the scenes. The scene. Well, if I say it, I'm going to give it away. But I mean, we're going to say it anyway, right? But
I mean, we're going to say what it is eventually anyway. In case you haven't figured it out, the number one film in 1999 was Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, which opens on May 19th, 1999 to $64 million plus. And a final domestic gross of $431 million.
The big thing after the original trilogy, everyone was waiting for it.
Not surprising.
And like I said, Bill Gates was nice enough to lend them that wallpaper background for the fight scene on Naboo, where all the droid army came down and started to fight the duck people.
You know, I never thought about it before, but it did look like the Windows 10 background.
I do have
Not even Windows 10, it was like Windows NT.
I just have a quick side note about this.
Yeah.
So I listened to Stop Thinking with Your Butt podcast, the new one, this week, and it was the Disney conspiracy theories, and the last one they did was Sith Lord Jar Jar Binks.
Oh yeah.
But they did so much stuff. I need to go back and watch to see if he actually is moving his mouth when someone else is talking, making them.
Would have made that character a hell of a lot more cooler.
Could have been just a CGI glitch.
Tolerable.
A little more interesting.
They put down you never know what that's going to be since he sold it to Disney, and you never know what the real stuff is going to happen.
Two things that always pop into my head when I think about Phantom Menace are the first trailer I saw was a fake trailer. And this is early days of the internet, so I didn't realize that people were faking trailers back then. And the trailer had Gabriel Byrne in it and Christopher Walken and all these other like amazing actors, and I was like, this looks fucking amazing. And then I saw the real trailer when it came out, and I went, where's Walken?
Like,
where's Byrne?
And instead of swords, they just put the lightsabers in their hands. Those were the Jedi who were preparing to fight.
Yeah, probably. I mean, yeah. The other thing I think of is the movie Fanboys that came out in the 2000s, where these guys are traveling to the Skywalker Ranch to try to steal a copy of Episode 1. And the very end of the film, they're in the theater getting ready to watch it with all the other fanboys. And the main character turns to the friends and goes, "What if this movie sucks?" And then they fade to black. It just cuts to black. So it always made me laugh.
I didn't hate this movie like everybody else did.
I hated Jar Jar Binks.
Everybody hated Jar Jar Binks.
I liked the stuff with Darth Maul. I thought Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor were really good together.
The
chlamydia?
Chlamydia, whatever it was.
That's how you become a Jedi with chlamydia.
Yes, that too, yeah.
This boy has an unusual amount of chlamydia.
Force sensitive, you get chlamydia. Yeah,
you should have
exactly. Exactly.
He's got more chlamydia than Master Yoda.
Good night, folks. You're done.
Good night, folks. We'll see you next week. Oh my god, it's gonna be the trailer for this episode.
Jedi with chlamydia.
Oh, I can't wait to see Glip next week, Mike. Oh my god. Oh.
I have a strange itching towards the dark side.
Fear leads to hate. Hate leads to darkness. Darkness leads to VD. I had trouble breathing before. Holy shit. Oh my god. Thank you, Michael, for that. I needed that.
You're quite welcome, Jimmy.
Moving on, the second film, the number 2 film in the box office in 1999, a little film filmed right in Philadelphia.
I guess I thought this had come out earlier.
The Sixth Sense.
I guess. I don't know.
Never heard of it. I thought it was later.
Yeah, I thought it was. It's weird because it's 1999, so you're right on the cusp of 2000. So it's like weird that a lot of these films you think could have been 2000.
It was released in August, so yeah.
Yeah, so it's the end of the year, basically.
No.
Either of you know the twist ending before it happened?
No.
I can honestly say it's one of the few movies that I've watched with a twist ending where I couldn't figure it out, and when it happened, I was like, "Holy shit!"
It really
it's his best work ever, and everything was compared to this.
It's his best work
so
ever.
It was like, if you start at the top, the only place to go is down. So.
And it was also like he got nominated for this, for writing, for directing. You had acting nominations in this film. The movie was nominated for Best Picture, and then it kind of became an expectation that he would have a twist ending in every film too.
Which killed all his other films.
Which killed a lot of his films. Yeah, like there wasn't always need for a twist ending. It just kind of became his thing. His last few movies that he's been doing lately have been pretty good, and I think it's a lot of it is that he's left the studio system and it's kind of he's been funding his own films lately. He uses Universal for distribution, but he's been funding movies with his own money. I think the guy's like mortgaged his house 4 times at this point. But he finances the film, but then makes his money back. So he's been doing pretty well.
The new one with Batista, he's a producer on it, not a director, or
he is a director, but he's also a producer. Yeah, because he finances the film. Okay. So that one's supposed to do pretty well when it gets released, and I heard a review of it recently, and it sounded pretty good. Number 3, Toy Story 2.
You got a friend in me.
All right.
I love Toy Story 1. I think Toy Story 3 is the best of the films.
No, you know what I liked about it was that it was
Toy Story 2 I thought was okay.
Story
I wasn't
in terms
as
of like he's a toy
big on it as a lot of people were.
The other toys that they had, Barbie, we recognize, the phone, we recognize, things that we know, the Fisher Price stuff. This was an original toy for the movie, and it's like, well, here's his story, and you can kind of relate it to what toys came out in the 1950s. Likewise, Buzz Lightyear will get his own story, which you find out later, So that's what I liked about it. Yeah. And
What's your thoughts on them coming out with another Toy Story now?
They mentioned that there will be a Toy Story 5. Tim Allen signed on, and I think he's going to be
fourth one was supposed to be the end.
Not the only one, but I don't think they're going to get Tom Hanks back. He's he's off with Bo Peep now. Yeah.
I was going to say because Woody left in the last.
It's a money grab.
Yeah. I think it's unnecessary. They just had that Lightyear film with Chris Evans playing Lightyear. It didn't do very well.
Yeah, but Iger's coming in and has to fix a lot of shit, so he's going back to the bank.
Yeah. Number 4 that year, making $206 million domestically, which dwarfed the first film. Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, starring Kevin's favorite actress, Heather Graham.
No, well, there's the Heather Graham's are that.
Kevin, that's not bringing the pretty doing that.
So the first Austin Powers film came out in 1997 and was a surprise hit, making a pretty decent amount of money at the box office for the amount of money spent on making the film. So it became one of those things where we have to cash in on it as soon as possible while the getting's still good. So they came out with the second Austin Powers in 1999, which went on to make a monster load of money and introduce us to the characters Fat Bastard and Mini Me.
And I shall call him
Mini Me. Mini Me. He looks like a baby. I ate a baby. Give me them baby back ribs. Chill his baby back ribs. It was another. It tastes kind of nutty. So it's kind of like it's a lot very similar to the first film in some of its beats and in the plot and all that. It does add a few new things to it to make it entertaining enough. And then they did the third film a couple years later, which was not as good, but made probably the most money of all three of them.
You need to say it like you're saying my cocaine. So
my cocaine. So yes, it's my cocaine. My cocaine. The fifth film, number 5 in the box office, 1999, making $171 million domestically at the over its run. The movie that introduced us to bullet time and heavy CGI effects. The Matrix. Wow, 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 wow.
What
does that say?
5.4% alcohol by volume. Yeah, no, it's delicious. It's tasty. A lot of caramel flavor to it. Mm-hmm. So
That actually sounds pretty good.
That does sound pretty good.
Yep.
So I think we've talked about this before. I didn't see The Matrix in the theater. Kev, you saw it. Yeah,
I didn't watch The Matrix till all 3 of them came out.
Yeah, you had said that before, yeah. I had not seen The Matrix because when it came out in theaters, I didn't know very much about it. And at the time, I wasn't the biggest Keanu Reeves fan.
Sold you on him?
He's kind of grown over on me in 30 years. And
okay.
What sold me on him? Just the fact that he seems like such a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always made fun of like his acting, which is not really the greatest, but he always seemed like a real genuine guy and like kind of down to earth, and he would do like really nice things for the people on the set of the films that he was on. And, it kind of made me think, well, he's a nice guy. I should maybe give him more shrift than I've been giving him. And then the John Wick's films came out, and I'm like, oh, this motherfucker's the best. But The Matrix, I actually saw with my wife. One night we rented it, and that was it. I was on board after that because it was a fucking awesome movie. Made me wish I had seen it in the theater. So then I saw the sequels in the theater and wished I had waited for them to come on video. So
yeah,
gave me some of my favorite movie lines, like "Whoa, and I know kung fu." One of my favorite. I used to eat good noodles. Number 6, the movie that beat out South Park for the best song at the Oscars that year, Tarzan.
Blame Canada.
Blame Canada was beat by that Phil Collins song from Tarzan.
I think this song is the thing I remember most.
Where are you guys at on this film? It's not one of my favorite Disney films.
No, but
what I remember most about it was a making of video I saw where they styled the way that Tarzan slides through the trees on professional skateboarders.
I think I got
they kind of studied the movement and make it look like it's really sliding down the tree branches and stuff. It's based on that
connections, kind of the connections between Frozen and The Little Mermaid and Tarzan, and how they all have elements of the same story to them, So. Right.
And isn't
the ship
like Tarzan's parents? Like there's one of those weird like Disney conspiracy connection things where like Tarzan's parents were like
The Little Mermaid, but then we know that they didn't sink. They got on this island, deserted island, and had him. So technically, he is the brother of Anna and Elsa. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Elsa. Number 7. Go ahead, Mike. What are you gonna say?
On this one, I feel like most Disney cartoons or most Disney movies that are more male oriented don't do nearly as well.
Yeah, they want Disney princesses, not Disney princes.
Yep.
Number 7 in the box office in 1999 stars Mike's favorite actor, Adam Sandler. This film is called Big Daddy.
Mm-hmm. No, it was one I could tolerate.
Actually, one of his like, not for lack of a better term, better films. Decent humor, it's a tolerable one. It's not like as like juvenile and gross out as like some of his early films were.
Oh, I thought this was great.
But we'll move on for Mike's sake because the next one is definitely one of Mike's favorites. Number 8 in the box office that year, The Mummy.
Yeah, this.
If they would have went through this for the Dark
Mhm.
Universe,
Rachel Weisz.
Oh yeah. Plus you have
Yep.
prime Brendan Fraser.
Mm-hmm.
You have Rachel Weisz, who I fell in love with after this movie.
They
You have
did not need to do the one with the dragon.
I was all on board for a sequel.
well, you didn't need to do
Yeah.
the one with the really bad CGI rock either. I think.
Yeah.
I was going to say this was
Yep.
this was pre CGI Dwayne Johnson. Yeah, I'm all for a sequel, but I thought the Scorpion
Mm-hmm.
at the end was terrible looking. But
Yeah.
the first Mummy was really good. It has some awesome special effects too in that film,
Oh, it did.
like the big sandstorm that turns into his face and all that shit.
Mm-hmm. This is one of many.
Number
that was
9
Julia
stars
Roberts
my
and
wife's
Richard
favorite
Gere, wasn't
actress of all time, Julia Roberts. This film is called Runaway Bride.
it? True.
Well, this is one of many that was Julia Roberts in wedding
She
themed
did this
movies.
one. She did.
She was in Best Friend's Wedding,
There's
Runaway
another one.
Bride. She did Pretty Woman with Richard
I can't
Gere.
think of it right now. Yeah. I can't think of it right now though. Yeah.
With Richard Gere. Yeah, I mean, I don't really care enough about it to go on, so we'll move. Number 10, a movie that had a very small budget and made $140 million. And I hate this fucking film. I think it's some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I didn't
Number
think it
10
was
is the
early
Blair
90s.
Witch
I remember
Project.
I was working.
I
I was
this
selling
came
cell
out much
phones.
earlier than this.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I thought it was like an
until
early 90s film.
1998,
It was 1999.
You know, but I think everybody got caught up in this was viral. This was one of the first viral marketing, big things that came out, and that's what built its popularity and success.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was marketed as an actual snuff film, basically.
Yep.
Like you were led to believe that this is a real group of people who really disappeared in the forest. It was actually a VHS that was passed around, and to the detriment of the actors, it kind of stunted their careers a little bit. They weren't able to go on to do much after this film. But everybody made a really big deal about it, and I remember watching it going, "This is the most boring, asinine shit I've ever seen, man. Like there was nothing exciting about it. Nothing scared me."
And trying to keep up with it.
And then I don't know. I think it's the first time I started to realize I don't have a great attention span. Number 11, Stuart Little.
It's about a mouse.
It's about a mouse, voiced by Michael J. Fox, who lives with a family whose father is played by Hugh Laurie, and for the first time in my life, I realized Hugh Laurie was a British actor.
You couldn't get that from the name Hugh?
Up until then, I only knew him from House, where he spoke with an American accent.
No, you're full of it.
No. I had a friend named Hugh growing up. I did, yeah. Yeah. I don't want to give away his full name because he became the principal of one of the schools that I taught at, but next one is a Stephen King, Tom Hanks classic, The Green Mile.
Wow.
It's a good movie. John Coffey, played by what was his name?
That was
I can't think of his name.
Michael Clark
The actor who played
Duncan?
John Coffey. I feel bad because he passed away. I should remember his name. Michael Clark Duncan, yeah. Michael Clark Duncan. Great performance by him. Tom Hanks always has great performances. It's a depressing movie, obviously, but very well acted, and it's based on a novel by Stephen King, which was actually a serial novel. He wrote a chapter, and he published a chapter a month. So you would have to read the chapter and wait a month for the next chapter to come out. And so it's cool, but it also drives you nuts. It's like when you're trying to binge a show, but you only get an episode at a time. And I read it as the serial novel, so it was really irritating when you would finish that chapter and be like, "Fuck, I gotta wait 30 days for the new one,"
You know he's had it done for like 3 months.
Oh yeah, yeah. Number 13, in 1999, was also the Oscar winner for Best Picture in 2000. That was American Beauty, starring Kevin Spacey, Annette Bening, Thora Birch, Mina Savari, et al.
A story about
Story about the mundane life of people in the suburbs. Does have a great opening monologue where he's like, "This is my street. This is my house. This is me masturbating in the shower. This would be the highlight of my day." And then I think it ends with something like, "In 48 hours, I will be dead." So it's like a really intriguing monologue. Although the movie is, it's a weird movie to watch nowadays because of the shit that went on with Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
And then when you think about the fact that he in the movie is pining after a 16-year-old girl, it makes it even weirder. Although there are some really good performances by all the other people in the cast too. It is a really good movie. The World Is Not Enough was number 14. This was one of the Pierce Brosnan James Bond films. Mike, you're the James Bond guy.
Yeah,
What do you have to say about this one?
I don't remember
The
which one
World
this
Is
one
Not
is. 'Cause I
Enough
don't watch
was, wasn't
You didn't
this
watch
the one
any
with
of the
Michelle
other
Yeoh?
ones?
I watched it.
And
Which
Terry
was in this
World
one?
Is Not Enough.
Oh, Christmas.
This is the one with this is the one with Denise Richards.
Richards. Yeah.
As the nuclear
I
physicist.
thought Christmas only came once a year.
That tells you all you need to know about it right there.
Dr. Christmas Jones.
That was one of the lines I
But it
remember.
did have Dame Judi Dench.
Yeah. So fucking dumb.
He did Tomorrow Never Dies.
I remember as well. I'm trying to find the other James Bond films that he did. The one that you're talking about, Michelle Yeoh, was actually one of the good ones.
Yeah.
GoldenEye.
Tomorrow Never Dies. Die Another Day.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Right? Die Another Day was one?
That was Tomorrow Never Dies. Is that what it was called? Mm-hmm. All right, so there is The World Is Not Enough is the one that came out in 99. There was Tomorrow Never Dies, which came out in 97. And there was GoldenEye, which was 95. And I think that's all, didn't he? I think he only did 3.
Yeah, he only did 3.
I think he only did the 3 films. So Die Another Day, and then this is the last one that he did.
Well, GoldenEye was his best one. So
GoldenEye was the best one. That's the one that has our boy Sean Bean falling to his death on a satellite dish. The World Is Not Enough was definitely the weakest of the 3.
Okay.
Well, I can't remember it.
Yeah, Tomorrow Never Dies. The second one he did, Tomorrow Never Dies, is the one with Michelle Yeoh. That one I was pretty good. I watched that one, and I remember going to the theater to see that one. I think that one was pretty good. GoldenEye, like you said, was the best one. This was definitely the worst of the 3.
Well, I also felt by the time they went to him, it was a little late.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should have went to him earlier.
Well, he was supposed to be Bond, but had a contract with Remington Steele, and they wouldn't let him out of his contract for it, and that's when they ended up going with Timothy Dalton. So Pierce Brosnan came on a little later, and he wanted to. Number 15 is Double Jeopardy. This movie starred, I want to say it was Morgan Freeman, I believe,
I think it was Tommy Lee Jones.
What's her face? Ashley Judd.
Yeah,
Ashley Judd. I thought it was
Okay.
Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah.
Right. She was convicted.
This is the one where
murder, and he's
Double Jeopardy means
alive,
she can't
so
get
he faked
found
his
guilty
own
for the
death,
same
but she
crime
was
twice or
convicted.
something.
So when she gets out,
Right. She got
I can kill you.
So she shoots him.
Number 16. I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy, telling him to love her. Notting Hill. This is Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant. I only know it because it's one of my wife's favorite movies, and I've had to suffer through it a few times.
So we need this big spider. Superman needs to kill a big
Number
spider.
17, Wild Wild West.
I personally enjoyed that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Mike likes this movie,
Yeah,
right?
I like Selma Hayek.
I enjoyed the movie. I took it for what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Kevin Kline in it. I thought he was pretty funny.
Kevin Kline.
Selma Hayek was great in it, yeah, because she's Selma Hayek. And then Kenneth Branagh was
Branagh.
really over the fucking top.
I like to beat my feet in the Mississippi mud. As he's stomping on.
That's what
Will
everything Will Smith was in had a number
It did
one.
give us
hit
a
in it,
number
you know?
one rap hit for Will Smith as well.
Men in Black and
Yes, it did.
Number 18 is a comedy starring Robert De Niro and Billy Crystal. Made $106 million at the box office that year. Analyze this. This is the film about a mobster who's having a nervous breakdown, so he starts seeing a psychiatrist played by Billy Crystal, and comedy
I
ensues.
thought that was pretty funny. Was this the basis
Actually, it's a
of,
pretty funny movie. I saw this in the theater.
of The Sopranos?
And remember thinking it was pretty funny.
Was this okay?
I feel like it had something to do with it because Sopranos. At least the second season of Sopranos, revolved around Tony going to see a therapist. Although it wasn't as comedic as this film was.
Yeah, I feel better now. I feel thanks.
There's some
That's
great
really
scenes in this. Like he tells him, when I get angry, I hit a pillow. So he pulls his gun out and shoots it. I feel better now. And then there's the scene where he has a dream that he's the Godfather and De Niro's Fredo, and they do the whole scene where the Godfather gets shot and Fredo's crying on the sidewalk. And De Niro goes, "Wait a minute, I'm Fredo? I don't think so." And then it all culminates with Billy Crystal having to go to the meeting of the families and pretend to be a gangster himself, and it's a pretty funny scene. Number 19 is The General's Daughter. I had to look this one up. I never heard of it. It's a John Travolta film.
Does this also have Tommy
It's
Lee
a John
Jones?
Travolta
Not Tommy Lee Jones.
I didn't even
Samuel
vaguely
L.
remember
Jackson.
it. Like, I seriously had to look it up. I think so. I'm looking it up now. So it was
no, I don't remember.
John
this one.
Travolta, Madeline Stowe, Timothy Hutton, James Cromwell, and James Woods.
Clarence Williams
III. When the daughter of a well-known and well-respected base commander is murdered, an undercover detective is summoned to look into the matter and finds a slew of cover-ups at West Point. So Travolta plays the undercover detective who is infiltrating West Point to try to find out who murdered the general's daughter.
Based on a novel.
Yeah. I think it's... Yeah. Yeah, I honestly had no recollection of this movie at all. Number 20 is one of my favorite films of 1999, and a film that I really thought would have been higher on the list for box office. It is American Pie. The movie that introduced us to, reintroduced us to the teen sex comedy.
Yeah.
And introduced the world to pie fucking.
Stifler's mom? Oh, I thought it was Stifler's mom.
Pie fucking, yeah, and Stifler's mom.
Stifler's mom, sorry.
American Pie. A movie that can't be made today. So that takes us to the end of the top 20 list. So let's take a look at 21 through 30, and each of us can pick out one of their own from this list here.
It's a great
So,
movie. It really
yeah, I'm
is.
definitely picking 30. So I'm going first because I'm picking 30. Galaxy Quest. It's a great movie. It's the best Star Trek film ever made.
Yeah. I think the one who played Monk had the best.
Even people who
lines.
starred in
I
Star
can't
Trek
remember
films say
that
it's the best
actor's
Star Trek
name.
film ever made.
Yes.
It's
Yes. He had some of the best lines in that.
He was
He's like,
Tony Shalhoub, who plays
they're minors.
Tech
Well, they
Sergeant
look
Chen.
a little young. No, you idiot. I don't understand. Hey, we did it, guys. Okay, good group hug.
Minors, not minors. I don't understand. I like how they're flying down to the planet to go get the minerals, and they're all like real nervous. And he's sitting there eating snacks out of a paper bag. They get beamed to the ship, and everybody's terrified. And he gets beamed on, and he's like, "Wow, that was groovy." Then he's having sex with the octopus lady, and Sam Rockwell walks in. It's like, "Oh, that's not right." I love that movie. Galaxy Quest is an all-timer for me. Mike, what do you got?
There's a couple good ones on this list, but
You're going
I'm going to go.
Pokemon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back.
That was not one. But I'm going to go with the one above.
That's when they put up, the things about women.
That's the movie that introduced us to Catherine Zeta-Jones's ass.
Yes. This is like the crowning example,
But then all was forgiven when she married Michael Douglas.
And I enjoyed his interpretation of this. I'm going with Sleepy Hollow.
Kev, which one are you taking from this list?
Sleepy Hollow. What's that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I mean I know it's not the greatest movie, but it's I think it's a good telling, and
that's why I
like
didn't
what
take
he
that
did
one,
with
because I knew you would.
with the casting and just he took something that I've only ever seen as like, well, how long was that cartoon on Disney did? 10, 15 minutes tops. And he kind of fleshed it out into a full-fledged film, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Christopher Walken as the Headless Horseman. Some other notables in that area are Any Given Sunday with
I would also say The Talented Mr. Ripley. I thought that
Deep
one
Blue
was,
Sea, the movie that gives us Sam L. Jackson getting eaten by a shark.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mr. Ripley, that's another good one. Yeah, I missed that one. Yeah.
And Pokemon, the first movie.
Pokemon, the first movie. Wait, anybody realize how weird that title sounds? Pokemon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back. A lot going on in that title. Numbers 31 to 40. So, Mike, why don't you go first on this one? So do Mike, Kevin, and me.
I want to go The Bone Collector.
Ooh, a little, kind of overlooked Denzel film.
Yes, I enjoyed that one. It was Denzel and
Angelina
Jolie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's kind of. I think it's the same author that did Double Jeopardy.
Man, I'm torn. I'm torn between two.
I'm not sure.
I think I would like to talk about, but
Kevin, which one are you going with?
Torn between two. I'm going to have to go with Bowfinger. It's a good movie with Steve Martin, Eddie Murphy.
I have a feeling you're going that
like a movie on the sly, using an actual like big name actor, but getting his twin brother to do many of the scenes, and then tricking the actual actor throughout the course of his life into scenes that he has no idea what's going on. Very clever story. Yeah.
It's like they use the twin brother for like the dangerous scenes, like running across the highway during traffic.
The big name actor in the
it's another one of those kind of like under the radar films that more people should know about.
Right.
That's a good movie.
Yeah. So I'm looking at this list, and I'm not sure. Oh man, there's a lot of them on here. I'm gonna go with the Thomas Crown Affair, which stars Pierce Brosnan. And again, another Pierce Brosnan film. Pierce Brosnan and Rene Russo. One of the better remake films. It's a remake of a film, I believe, from the 70s, and one of the ones that does a fairly decent job about recreating it. It's about.
We're gonna go over some honorable mentions between 30.
Yes. So let's see, 41 to 50. Kevin, why don't you go first this time?
And now that's the thing.
What are you gonna say, Mike?
At. I was like, Bicentennial Man. I really love that movie. I know it's got.
You just say, Bicentennial Man was on that.
I know.
Number 40.
I know, but it's a touching movie.
I love Robin Williams. I'm not a fan of that film. You guys outvote me on that one.
The other one I was looking at that was on there was Life. I think that was the one with Life was the one with Michael. Is it?
Three Kings.
I thought Life was
Three Kings is a good one. Life is a good one too. Life is Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence,
and he's got cancer, and
then Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy is Life.
My Life?
Oh, that was Dying. What the hell is that one called? It's not called Life.
No, okay.
No,
so
it's called like. I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of the name of it. No, Life was a comedy starring Eddie Murphy.
My bad. I'm sorry.
The 1932 two strangers are wrongly convicted.
All right. 41 to 50.
So 41 to 50, Kev. Which one would you go with?
Man, I think I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Stigmata. Yeah. Now I really like the ones where it's, a little religious. I
was just about to say that.
Possession and shit. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Gabriel Byrne again.
Yep.
So that goes to me now.
Yep.
I'm going with South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut at number 47. Because at the time I was a really big South Park fan. I haven't watched it in a few years. But I was a big fan, and so is my little sister Dana. And I took her to the movies to see this, and she was probably a little too young.
Yeah.
And we would watch the show together at home, and I would we could kind of get away with some of the jokes that they told on TV. And then you go to see the movie, and it's just like balls to the wall because they had the freedom to do whatever the hell they wanted in the movie. And I'm sitting here going, should I have my sister at this movie with me? Although it does a really good job at parodying Disney musicals.
I don't.
So, Mike, which one did you go with?
I will go with Varsity Blues.
Little football movie there.
Yep.
Introduced us to the whipped cream bikini.
Yes, sir.
Dawson's Creek as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Some other notables you have in that. You have Cider House Rules, which got Mike O'Kane his second Oscar win. Eyes Wide Shut, which is the final film of Stanley Kubrick. Very weird film. Yeah, House on Haunted Hill, which is a remake.
No, it's not. Actually,
became the Hill House, the Haunting of Hill House on Netflix.
I thought this was the one where the guy had people come in and
it was based on a novel of the same
and
name,
they each be given a weapon.
So it was like an adaptation. Yeah. That's The Haunting.
This one says, amusement park mogul offered a group of diverse people $1 million to spend the night in the haunted house.
It's not the same one as the Haunting of Hill House.
This one starred Jeffrey Rush.
Yeah.
So should we do some more, or should we just go through some notables in the next
okay.
Because this list actually goes up to 200.
Oh, yeah.
But once you get past 100, there's really not much to talk about. Except for Mystery Alaska. Kev.
Well, let's go 400. And,
which is
let's just do the top 100 and
50,
do that.
51.
Let's do the top
so
100.
let's look at so number 61
Cruel
or
Intentions.
60. I'm sorry, or 50. Where are we at?
Of
51.
Dangerous
51.
Liaisons.
Anne and the King remake of The King and I. Cruel Intentions
Yes,
remake of Dangerous Liaisons.
Sarah Michelle Gellar's.
Yeah, but Geller was hot.
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah. Taming of the Shrew.
Young cast.
Yeah.
Amazing.
10 Things I Hate About You came out this year. It's number 53. It's an adaptation of Shakespeare.
I think it
Taming
became
the
more of
Shrew.
a cult favorite.
Fight Club, number 54. I'm surprised. I thought Fight Club made more money than that. It really isn't that big a hit when you
Well,
look
it
at it.
came out in October, so
Yeah. Skipping down a little
Right,
bit
Eaters of
here. Let's go
Mhm.
to 62, The 13th Warrior. It's an
Love that movie.
adaptation of a Michael Crichton novel called Eaters
Yeah.
of the Dead.
Yeah.
Number 66, Dogma.
oh god, I saw that in the theater. I love that too.
Yeah, one of my favorite of the Kevin Smith films.
Girl
Mystery Men,
Interrupted.
number 68. It's a
Another good one.
very underrated
Girl Interrupted.
superhero parody.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Baby Geniuses? No, let's not talk about that.
Uh,
The Iron Giant, number 78. Girl Interrupted is up on that
75,
list.
Blast from
78,
the
The Iron Giant. 79,
75,
Being John
Blast from the
Malkovich. What'd you say, Mike?
Mm-hmm. No,
Blast from the Past. Mike, which one did you say?
that's what I said. But that's what I said. Also, Arlington Road.
Arlington Road, which is Tim
Tim-
Burton. Or Tim
No,
Burton.
not Tim. Jesus Christ.
What's his name?
Yeah.
Tim
Tim Robbins. Tim Robbins.
Jesus Christ.
Kate Winslet. I think,
Andy Dufresne.
too.
Andy Dufresne.
Yeah.
Tim Robbins.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sir, we got we got Stir
No,
Echoes. We got another
Gabriel.
post-apocalyptic Gabriel Byrne film. Summer Sam, 86.
That's End of Days. Yeah. Stir of Echoes was.
Isn't that the Gabriel Byrne one? No, I'm thinking of what's the one I'm thinking of? Isn't that End of Days? And then Stir of Echoes is Kevin Bacon. It's a Kevin Bacon film. What else we got here?
I hated Summer of Sam. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah. Muppets from Space, number 95.
I didn't even know they had that one. That's how bad. That's how unknown that movie is.
A Midsummer Night's Dream, which is another Shakespeare adaptation. Election, number 98, is another Reese Witherspoon film. And then you get into the deep end here because there's we're in the lower 100s here. There's only a few like notables, I would say, in the lower end, which would be Office Space, number 121, showing us your O face.
Just came out to.
What else we got? Anything else good in the
Universal
upper
Soldier
lower? Mystery
Return.
Alaska, 133.
Run, Lola, run.
Doesn't do right
Dudley Do Right.
at 129.
Mhm.
Run Little Run. Jacob the Liar, one of the Robin Williams films we spoke
Idle
about recently. Number
Hands, wasn't that
152.
one with
And then you're really starting to get into like kind of the dregs here as you get down to the lower hundreds.
I do. I really
Title
do.
hand. Oh, here's a Kevin movie here, number 174, Existence. Yeah.
How could you guys miss?
That's a movie that suffers from being a twin film for The Matrix.
How'd you guys miss Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels?
Oh, 166. That's right. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Guy Ritchie film. Beyond the Mat, Mike. That's the wrestling documentary about Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah.
And then Titus, another Shakespeare adaptation. A lot of Shakespeare adaptations in 1999. And then all the way down. The last number 200 in that year was a movie called American Movie. and rightfully so. I've never heard of it because it's number 200 in that year. American Movie. Let's see what this is about.
A documentary about an inspiring filmmaker's attempt to finance his dream project by finally completing the low-budget horror film he abandoned years before.
This looks like a winner. Billy Crystal makes a cameo in it as the Academy Awards MC, uncredited. They used film stock. This looks like it was filmed on the 8mm camera I got from Toys R Us when I was 12. This looks bad. Wow. All right. Well, that is the end of our main segment, the year in film history, year 1999. Mike, do you have any beer trivia for us this evening, or beer history per se?
That's a beer trivia.
Sounds good.
The states with the highest number of craft breweries are, in order, California, Colorado, New York, and Washington.
Wow.
Are there any dry states in America?
Or Jersey, considering how many we have around us right now?
No.
Okay. But nope. Dry states? No.
Counties, yeah.
Dry counties. Yes.
So, talk about our drinks once again. Again, I had some Bombshell ciders from Warhorse Brewery in New York, the Berry Lemonade Rosie Riveter cider, and the Bombshell Raspberry with the little pinup on the cover there. Both very good. I downed them both very quickly. I really, really need to use the restroom, so we're going to probably end this episode pretty quickly. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah.
Both my beers are from Devil's Backbone. Did all of us drink the same two type brewery?
I did Tanner Brewing Company.
Yeah,
Tanner Brewing Company in Haddon Heights.
Yeah, so you had Devil's Backbone. I did Warhorse, and Kevin did
the
Tanner's
Stout, and yeah. And I'll have to see if I can bring some of these on Saturday, guys. This is the My Caramel Romance, the lager brewed with caramel and apples from Tanner. Very, very good. I'm still working through this, but it's all good. I was doing the PB dance.
Yeah, I don't know if you're watching us. If you're watching the YouTube video version of our show right now, you get to see me do my sitting down in my desk chair pee-pee dance, because I really gotta go.
Much I really enjoy.
You know what? I don't give you guys the spotlight enough, so if you want, I can walk away for like 5 minutes, let you guys do your own thing, and then I can come back relieved and ready to end the show.
We can talk about the comedians again.
Yeah. Let's talk about Jedi Chlamydi. Oh my God, it's not as bad as syphilis.
Let's take it home.
Thanks for joining us tonight for episode 94 this year in film history. The year that you chose for us on Twitter, the year was 1999. We hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Remember, you can drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit all of our social media and podcast links by going to linktree.com/filmsandfermentation. Don't forget to stop by the crossroads between pickled and fermented next week as we present episode 95. Next week, we're going to be doing a deep dive episode into the career of Morgan Freeman.
I'm Kevin.
That should be a really fun and interesting episode. So don't forget to drop by next week to check that out.
Cheers.
Anyway, I'm Leo.
I'm Mike.
Thanks again for joining us, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.